name is Scott Robertson, principal here at Fredericton Christian Academy. I would like to welcome and congratulate our graduates on their accomplishment. Furthermore, I would like to welcome the Honorable Stephen Horseman, Chief Alan Poltis Jr., Pastor Woodcock, Headmaster Jonathan McAloon, parents, grandparents, relatives, family friends, and fellow classmates and teaching staff. We are honored by your presence this evening to celebrate the class of 2019 from Fredericton Christian Academy. Please join me now in a word of prayer. Eternal God our Father, we thank you for the completion of another academic year and for giving us the opportunity, short though it may have been, to play a part in the lives of these graduates. We are grateful for your guidance and love as we shared in this important work. Please bless and guide our graduates as they reach this end, and as they chart new beginnings. May they have learned by being with us, allowed to be true, and help them to be men and women who seek your will. May what they have learned from them enable us to be the same as staff and other leaders in our community. Please help them to use what they have learned and help them make the world a better place, to serve others in true solidarity and kinship, to seek ways to help the poor, the marginalized, and those who are suffering, and to always seek the greater good. We know that some of them will experience pain and hardship, and we know that some of them already have, and we ask you to grant them solace and strength. Finally, Father, we thank you for giving us the opportunity to build our community with these young men and women while they were here. Though they are leaving our school, we know that they will always be with us as part of the FCA family. And we ask that the bonds that have been created here remain strong despite any distance. We ask all of this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. You may be seated. Oh, sorry. We are to do our national anthem. You are to stand back up. You may be seated. At this time, I'll ask graduate Matthew Benedell to share in scripture reading.
I'll be reading from 1 Peter chapter 5, verses 6 and 7. Therefore, humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time, casting all your care upon him, for he cares for you.
Thank you, Matthew. At this time, we'll have the salutatorian by giving Mr. Santiago Sanchez Castillo.
Welcome, fellow graduates, family, faculty, and distinguished guests. Thank you for coming today in support of those right in front of you. Lao Tzu once said, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." Today, we're celebrating this journey. although it's only the start of it. There have been some amazing years where we were able to learn a lot of things. Some of us learned that Vietnam is in Asia. Some learned that trees can drown. And others learned that when a teacher says to sit down, she means to take a chair, not to squat in front of everyone. Thank you for all those good times that we had, for the experience that we learned, for the experience that we'll never forget, that I'll never forget. Thank you.
Thank you, Santi. At this time, we'll have a piano solo by Farinas Afsa. At this time, I'm going to ask the graduates that they would now follow down into the front row as we present the awards and prizes.
So if I call your name in connection with one of these awards or prizes, you can make your way over to Mr. Robertson and he will make the presentation to you. Don't be in a hurry. Somebody might want to get a picture. And then when that's all done, you can make your way back and we'll proceed to the next award. Our first award this evening is the Yearbook Award given to our editor, Mr. Santiago Sanchez Castillo. Our second award is to the graduate showing scholastic diligence, and this year's recipient is Mr. Wang Yuan. The Mary Alice Rickard Memorial Medal for the highest standing in grade 8 is given each year. This year it's going to be presented by Mr. Jesse Juke, one of our graduates, who was the recipient of this award when he was in grade 8. So the Mary Alice Rickard Memorial Medal for highest standing in grade 8 recipient is Ms. Holly Fenna-Tinholt. Our salutatorian award to Mr. Santiago Sanchez Castillo. The valedictory award, Ms. Chelsea Clift. We actually have two winners of the Female Athlete Award this year. The first Female Athlete of the Year award goes to a young woman who won the Unsung Hero Award on both the girls' basketball and volleyball teams, as well as the MVP award for our championship soccer team. This year's first recipient is Savannah McLeod. The second Female Athlete of the Year award goes to a young woman who won the Unsung Hero Award for basketball, the top defensive player for soccer, and the dig expert in volleyball. Congratulations to the second recipient of this year's award, Liberty Francis. Our Male Athlete of the Year award goes to the MVP of our boys basketball, senior boys basketball, Mr. Colton Kosovu. The Christian Citizenship Award goes to Mr. Matthew Binadell. The next award is the Blue F. This award is given to a student who has, in grades 10, 11, and 12, maintained an overall academic average of no less than 85%, while at the same time having contributed to the school by participating in no less than 7 extracurricular activities. This year's recipient is Mr. Santiago Sanchez Castillo. The D. Bruce Moore Scholarship recipient this year is Miss Chelsea Cliff. The Miss Manners and Mr. Manners Awards are donated in loving memory of Mrs. Catherine Wilson by her family. Miss Manners this year is Miss Farinas Asaro. Our Mr. Manners Award to Mr. Wang Yuan. Our Perseverance Award to Kaylee Paul. Fine Arts Award to Ms. Chelsea Cliff. The Janice Marie McAloon Memorial Award, donated by her family. This award goes to Mr. Kalen Govan. And the Governor General's Medal is awarded to the student who maintained the highest academic average through grades 11 and 12. And this year's recipient is Mr. Santiago Sanchez Castillo.
Congratulations to all our award recipients. At this time, we'll have our graduation address. And just a little background note on our graduation address. This individual has been a teacher at Delton Park Christian School at Fredericton Christian Academy for, I believe it's about 38 years. And he was selected by the class to come and to address the graduates this evening. Please welcome Mr. Randy Fox.
Yes, when they asked me, my first response was, well, one more opportunity to put them to sleep. So we'll try to keep it short and try to not do that. I'm just going to read one verse and then we'll see what happens. From Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 9. We can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. So tonight brings to an end a journey that began many years ago when some proud and probably nervous parents got a group of 5-year-olds up in the morning, all dressed to begin their school life. I remember it well in my own experience. Father and daughter got all dressed up. Mom taking the picture before we left. It was a big day. It was a big day in the life of the family and a big day in the life of these students. For many years, my wife was a kindergarten teacher. And she actually taught a couple of these students at that time, believe it or not. I do remember when she did this, she would say, sometimes it was the moms that were having a harder time of it than the kids. The moms would come in with their precious child, and they were turning this child over into the care and keeping of this person. And some of them wanted to stay. And they would come in the room and they would sit down and didn't want to leave. and my wife would have to politely say, "It's okay, but you have to go." Some of you were excited, some of you cried, mothers and children, and now here we are. Now, whether you or your parents are happiest that this moment has finally arrived may depend upon the family. Tonight, though, you have finished the race. Tomorrow, you're going to wake up, assuming you get some sleep tonight. Tomorrow, you're going to wake up to the sudden realization that somebody moved the finish line on you. So enjoy tonight, because tonight, you're at the top of the ladder. Tomorrow, when you get up, you're at the bottom of the next one. Welcome to the game of life. Oh, speaking of games, we're going to play one. This game is about brave men and women who have put their all on the line to try and do something awesome. So here's how it's going to go. We're going to play maybe or maybe not. Oh, by the way, the students don't know about this. Yes, I am going to put you to work one last time. So as I said, this game is about men and women who have dedicated themselves to trying to do something awesome. So how it's going to work is this. Guess what's in the can? Your names. I'm going to reach into the can and pull out 2 names. If your name is called, you will come up here and take one of the signs. At that time, you're going to be asked a question. The question will come up on the screen. If you don't hear it, you can see it there. You will be asked a question about somebody who tried to do something awesome. And what you have to do is make a decision whether you think maybe they did. Or, nah, no way, maybe not. So the 2 of you, each one will get one. Whoever is the first person to raise their sign with their answer, the other person automatically gets the other answer. And whoever's wrong, oh well. There's nothing to win anyway. There is a reason for this, by the way, which will become evident later. So, I have 19 names in here. I have 8 questions. So if you do the math, that means altogether, how many of you are going to come up here? 2 at a time. 8 questions. 16, yes, 16 are going to come up. There will be 3 lucky people who don't get to publicly embarrass themselves tonight. But I don't know who they are. Even you. Participant number 1, Coy. Here's your sign. Coy would like to pick the next name. Can we take one?
Wow.
Oh! So we had Wang and Coy. And we remember, first person with the answer. The other one automatically gets the other. Ready? Okay, we're ready. Liverpudlian Graham, and that was really his name, took an entire month to set up 4 million dominoes. Did he break the record for the most dominoes knocked over at once? Coy says, who was first? Juan was first? Juan was first. Oh, he says maybe, so Coy's maybe not. A frightened bird actually got trapped in the exhibition center, knocked down 23,000 dominoes, and they were unable to get them set up in time to meet the criteria. I did read an article and they said subsequently to this they shot the bird. Good air gun. I didn't shoot the bird, okay? So if that upsets you, no es mi culpa. Tested number 3. Attention. Colton! You want to pick your competitor? Matthew. Are we ready? Question number 2. Tahiti attempted to set a new world record for largest ukulele band. Did they make it? They both say maybe. I didn't see who was first. Doesn't really matter anyway, does it? Because they're not winning anything. Okay, what's our answer? Maybe. They fell 4,000 ukulele players short of the 10,000 person goal. Thank you for your participation. All you got to decide is maybe or maybe not. Question number 3. Middle East factory workers attempted to break the 62-pound record held for the largest Oreo cookie. Did they do it? They did. They weighed 160 pounds. That's a big one. James is yawning. Where's his name? James! You get to pick your competitor. Kaylin! To celebrate World Toilet Day, Australians attempted to break the record of stacking 28 rolls of toilet paper in 30 seconds. Did they do it? Maybe not. Didn't do it. Apparently stacking gets hard, toilet paper's harder than you think. Thank you. Are we ready? In 2017, that should say Canadians, whoever did that can't spell, attempted to break the record for the most snow angels, over 15,000. Did they do it? What do you think? They both think so? Okay, maybe not. They came up short, only 7,000 people showed up. And who's the most popular? Must have been one of those minus 35. Okay. Chris Pete attempted to eat a 12-inch pizza in 30 seconds. Did he do it? He did. And he also holds the record for the most hamburgers eaten in a minute, which was... It can't be 4 factorial. My grade 12s would freak out. Very nice. Shelby. Deputy Jamar Cotton from New Mexico attempted to break the record of most hugs in 60 seconds. Did he do it? What do you think, girls? Yeah? He did! The previous record was 86, and he hugged 114 people. Some of us don't know 114 people that would want to hug us. I was not one of the 114. Chelsea. Rivers, Ripple. Sandy. All right. Chad Fell from Alabama attempted to blow the world's largest bubblegum bubble. Did he do it? He did. He blew a 20-inch bubble. Maybe some of you here think you have beaten that record, but I'm not sure. Well, there's not many names left. What? Last one. Last chance for glory. Jeffrey. He is extremely excited to be here. Christy. Oh. All right. Last question. Awesome job. That's it? Oh well. So that wasn't so bad. I thought at one point that I would get you all to come up here and we would do Arnold the Parabola. Yes. Yeah, you want? Some of them are thinking, Arnold the Parabola, what's he talking about? They must have not been there that day. Well, if you were going to try and break one of these records, which one would you choose? I mean, the truth is, most of us have no idea how much work and dedication it actually takes to attempt some of these things. One thing I have to say I admire about people who put it all on the line for things that may seem impossible is their willingness to go out there and at least give it a shot, you know, to try. For example, let's look at the guy who blew the bubblegum bubble. If you do a little research, you'll find out that, well, first, he took the time to fill out the Guinness World Records application form to try to do it. When he did it, he was 43 years old. And he had dedicated a lot of time to trying to blow the world's biggest bubble. He actually even has a Twitter account dedicated to this thing, believe it or not. He spent 20 years chewing 2 bags of double bubble every week. practicing. So here are some of the things he learned along the way. Number one, bubbles will expand more in warm temperatures. There's some physics in that, by the way. Number two, you need to chew gum for at least 15 minutes before trying to blow one. And that's because the sugar that's in the gum decreases its elasticity. There's a little chemistry and physics in that as well. Also, he said you have to chew on the side of your mouth. So, this guy has blowing bubbles with bubble gum down to a science. At some point in his younger years, he started down a road that led him to future success, doing something that was important to him. Might not be to you, might not be to me, but it must have been to him. It didn't happen quickly, but he had the ganas to persevere. And this is what we're talking about here today, your future. Because tomorrow, you start down this road into your future. Your future. They were with me while we played the game, but I'm starting to lose some of them now. You can do it. Stay focused. Regardless of the path you start down, however, I want you to know that at this moment, your future is full of hope. The verse I read in Proverbs says that a man's heart plans his way. You have plans, or some of you have plans. But the Lord directs his steps. Right now, whether it is just an idea or you know exactly what you want to do, there are things that are going on in your mind and in your heart that have to do with your future. And while you are making your plans, what this verse says is, it's the Lord who is directing your steps. You see, when God created you, it was not accidental. Because I've heard that from students occasionally, either talking to me or talking to their friends. They'll say, yeah, my parents said it was an accident. Now, you may not have been in their plan, but you were in God's plan, or you would not be here. So, He made you because He wanted to give you a life to live. An awesome life. And He has some kind of awesome life for you to live. I don't know what it is, but He does. And you will get to experience it. What that awesome life is going to look different for each of you. And it would definitely even look different if we could see it through the lens of God's eyes. So right now, there are dreams and plans that are birthed in your heart from a loving God who wants what's best for you. And as you travel down your path, there are going to be times when it is hard. And when you're going to think, this is not fair. And you will start to wonder whether He really does have a plan or whether He really wants good things for your life. During those times, you need to know that He is still in control. For I know the plans I have for you, He says. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. I have a favorite toy. My favorite toy is my red 16-foot chestnut prospector canoe. It was made by my uncle and his son, my cousin, who is my age. My cousin's my age. When they worked for the Chestnut, well, actually it was after they worked for the Chestnut Canoe Factory. But my uncle got some of the molds that they build them on, and so they continued to build them after that. So when when everything at the lake calms down, and when the water skiers are through, and the jet skiers have run out of gas, and it gets to be the evening, and the water gets still, and it's quiet, that's when I like to go out in Water Walker. That's what I call her. And it's quiet, and I paddle, and I commune with the Creator. That's when I'm really relaxed. One thing about canoeing, however, that I have to confess, and that is that I never really feel very comfortable sitting in the front of the canoe if there's a pair of paddlers. In fact, I really don't like it at all for a few reasons. Essentially, the person who sits in the front has two jobs: provide horsepower and set the pace for paddling. If you really want to find the frustration with sitting in the front, it's get in a canoe by yourself in the front and try to steer the thing. And you're going to, maybe you can keep it going in a straight line if you switch the paddles from side to side all the time. But you're going to have very little control about where it goes. You're going to flail away and beat away and expend a lot of energy and not make much progress. In short, being in the front is to be out of control. And I don't like being out of control. In the back of the canoe, what in English we call the stern of the canoe, that's where I like to be. That's where the guide sits. That's where the person who is steering the course of the canoe sits. If you want to steer a canoe, you sit in the back. That's where you have control. The guide sits back there with their compass on their knee, their map on the floor of the canoe, and directing a straight course to their destination. From the back of the canoe, steering it is an art form. A gentle twist of the blade as it moves through the water with each stroke provides effortless maneuvering. You can take a compass bearing from precise maps and keep that straight line, and you will get to your destination. However, that's why I like being in the back. That's where you're in control. However, I don't know that you and I have the opportunity to sit in the stern, in the back of our own life as it glides through the watery maze of our existence. I think that God plops us down in the front of the canoe of our life and calls upon us to paddle while He sits back there and controls the direction. Many of us like to think that we're sitting in the back, in the stern of our own life, in the back, and that, we're controlling things. And so we thrash through our day-to-day life trying to create some kind of direction and some kind of momentum. And some of us have even become pretty good at it, or at least we cheer ourselves on while we thrash about and splash from side to side. But if for a minute we stop and take a break from paddling and look at ourselves, we realize how wet with water and drenched with sweat we've become while having covered so little distance, only to end up exhausted and discouraged. Now, I don't like it any better than you do, but the fact of the matter is, when it comes to life, we're in the bow. We're in the front. And the guide, with a capital G, is sitting in the stern. And he's not saying to us, paddle harder, paddle stronger, paddle faster. He's saying, quiet down. Listen. Pick a long distance pace, because life is a long distance. pick a long-distance pace, and focus on what I'm telling you. Because I'm not going to yell over all your flailing. If you've spent any time in a canoe, you can easily recognize a veteran pair of paddling partners. A pair of people who have paddled together for a long time. Because they will get on the water with clear communication and no words being spoken about where they're going and how they're going to get there. The person in the bow trusts that the person in the back can read the map and has their best interest in mind and will keep a laser straight direction and provide the most meaningful and beautiful journey for them both. But the real telltale mark that they're veterans is their paddling cadence. They paddle perfectly in sync. And that perfect rhythm keeps the canoe from listing from side to side. A canoe trip, if you've ever taken a canoe trip that lasts a couple of days or, a few days, it's not easy. But neither is life. But they are both good. I still enjoy sitting in the stern of the canoe. But I have learned and continue to learn more deeply that when it comes to my life, my real place is to be in the bow, in the front. It's not an easy lesson to learn, and it's not a fun one. But I want to paddle my life with God. Swift and quiet, controlled and at peace. I want to go deep into the back country of His kingdom because He wants to take me there. He wants to take you there. Do you want to go? So a few years ago, we took one of our grad classes on a whitewater rafting trip. Some of the teachers came, and before we ever got on the water, we get the safety talk from the guides, which I think was actually after we signed the waiver that said if we died on the water, it wasn't their fault. They're giving us the safety talk, what you have to do, how to put on your life preserver, you had to wear your helmet. What do we have to do? So, they're giving us these instructions, and they said, somewhere, somehow today, we're going to be going through the rapids and somebody's going to fall out of the raft. If you do, don't panic. Because most of the time, 90% of the time, you're going to pop up within a couple of feet of the raft, and we can reach out and pull you in, or reach a paddle out to you and you can grab it and we'll pull you in. If, however, you are one of that small percentage who pops up out of the water and you're out of our reach, at that point, you are AMF yo-yo. What does that mean, graduates? AMF yo-yo? Adios, my friend. You're on your own. That was encouraging. By realizing that we are in the bow and God sits in the stern, it's well with our soul and a great adventure lies ahead. Here's the thing. If God is your guide, if He is in the stern of your life, and you fall out of the raft, one thing you will never hear Him say is, you are AMF yo-yo. Because He never leaves you on your own. When we realize that we are in the bow and God sits in the stern, it's then that it's well with our soul and a great adventure lies ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Fox, for the enlightening and challenging message tonight, graduation address to our graduates and also to every one of us in this room tonight. Thank you very much. At this time, we'll have our valedictory address by Miss Chelsea Cliff.
Good evening, friends, family, loved ones, staff, teachers, and most importantly, the grad class of 2019. First off, I would like to thank you for the honor of representing this wonderful class. I'm so grateful to stand here today as your valedictorian. From the moment we stepped in this school, we were learning. Whether it was life skills or poetry, we're always learning. In Mrs. Clark's class, we learned how to change an overhead projector light bulb, and that it's a sin to kill a mockingbird. In Mr. Fox's class, we learned too many equations and ganas. Mrs. Mack taught us how to pull off a good prank and how to love ourselves fiercely. Miss Longworth taught us how to hit a kid square in the forehead with a stuffed animal, and that saying merci and de rien are essential. From the moment each of us stepped through the doors, we have been on a learning adventure. This evening, I would like to take the time I have to share a lesson I learned over my many years of schooling that I feel can encourage you. I remember a specific day in grade 10 when Mr. Ingram came to my desk and told me to stop fearing failure. He knew I was hesitant to answer the question because I don't like being wrong. See, I knew how to do the math, but I was too scared to raise my hand and give the answer in fear that I would be wrong. We cannot let the fear of failure stop us from moving forward in life. I'm sure you have heard this term 1 million times, but you learn from your mistakes. You learn from your failures. Raise your hand if you have ever eaten a Hershey's candy bar or Hershey's product. Did you know that the man who gave us these treats, Milton S. Hershey, overcame the failure of his first 2 candy businesses? Even though he failed, he kept trying, and now almost everyone has heard of his product. Failure is inevitable if you want to live a remarkable life. To live a life of passion, meaning, and purpose, you cannot succumb to your fear of failure and stick to the comfortable path. Success is going from one failure to another and not losing your enthusiasm. Winston Churchill. 2 Chronicles 15:7 says, "As for you, be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded." Much can be said about our class, some good things and some bad things, even though we don't like to admit it. But I hope when we leave, people remember our class is caring. We stick up for one another because we are family. Our class is passionate. We're not afraid to stand up for what we believe in. I hope that's the legacy we leave behind. To the guys, you are so brave and so patient. Watching you influence the younger boys makes my heart melt. I know that you guys will all succeed in life and will rock this world. To my girls, we are so powerful and so loving. Nothing can stop us. We are strong and kind. We are fearfully and wonderfully made by our Creator in His image. We are so beautiful and so unique. In closing, thank you to our teachers for letting us fail, but working every day with us so that we can stand here today, successful. Thank you to God for loving us unconditionally. Thank you to the parents who drove us here and paid for our education and loved us. Romans 12:1-2. Therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will. Thank you.
Thank you, Chelsea. At this time, I'll ask Headmaster Mr. McAloon to come join us on the stage as we have our presentation of diplomas.
In this year's graduating class, we had students that were born in Canada, Iran, Vietnam, Hong Kong, South Korea, South Africa, and Colombia. So we have an international graduating class tonight. I sit in my room at lunchtime and there's about 4 different languages going on at the same time sometimes. Each in competition with each other as to who can be the loudest. Sometimes I leave. Our first graduate is going to be attending Dalhousie University in the science program and is a recipient of the Dalhousie Entrance Scholarship, valued at $2,000, Ms. Farenas Afzal. Our second graduate will be attending UNB in their arts program this fall, Ms. Shelby Baird. Our next graduate is also going to be attending UNB in the fall in the Science Kinesiology program, Mr. Matthew Benedell. Our next graduate is still deciding between Ryerson and UNB, Mr. Kevin Chung. Our next graduate will be attending New Brunswick Community College, Ms. Chelsea Cliff. Our next graduate will be working while he decides what comes next, Mr. Colton Kosovu. Our next graduate is also deciding what comes next, Christy Crane. Our next graduate is going to be attending the business program in UNB and is a recipient of a $500 entrance scholarship, Mr. Liam Cushing. Our next graduate will also be in the business program at UNB and has an entrance scholarship of $1,000, Mr. Kalen Govan. Our next graduate is in the workforce, Mr. Jesse Juke. Our next graduate will be attending the Toronto International Language School, Mr. Adam Ho. Our next graduate that's listed on your program, Alice Lam, isn't with us because she had to leave to return home in Hong Kong. But we recognize her accomplishment here tonight. Our next graduate will be attending UNB in the arts program, Miss Abby McLean. Our next graduate is deciding between UNB or York, Mr. Jeffrey Ng. Our next graduate will be attending the University of Alberta, is the recipient of the University of Alberta Maple Leaf First Year Excellence Scholarship, valued at $1,000, and also the International Student Scholarship, valued at $9,000 for 4 years. Mr. Wang Yuan. Our next graduate will be attending McGill in the fall in the computer science program and is the recipient of a renewable entrance scholarship valued at $3,000, Mr. Koi Nguyen. Our next graduate will be attending St. Thomas University in the arts program in the fall, Ms. Kaylee Paul. Our next graduate will be attending UNB in the Science Kinesiology program and has received UNB Entrance Scholarship valued at $4,000 and is renewable thereafter. Mr. Santiago Sanchez Castillo. Our next graduate is still in the process of considering what comes next, Mr. Isaac Smith. And our last graduate this evening will be attending McGill University in the Software Engineering program, Mr. James Soule.
Congratulations to our graduates. I ask that now that everyone would please stand and join us in singing God Save the Queen. Please remain standing. I'll ask now to give our benediction, Mr. Stephen Cliff.
Thank you very much and good evening. Not much of a public speaker. Up to this point, my level of public speaking has been mostly nothing to see here, move along people. A little bit of police humor for you. Let me first say how honored I am to have been asked to close out this year's ceremony in prayer. This night will end 16 consecutive years that I've had a child in the Fredericton Christian Academy, formerly known as the Devon Park Christian School. As a parent, I can say that the experience of the Fredericton Christian Academy, the school, the staff, the students, has truly been a blessing to our family. I've often been commented to friends and coworkers over the years who asked me about the Fredericton Christian Academy, about how grateful I am, grateful to have sent my most precious accomplishments, my two daughters in Amber and Chelsea, to a school built on the foundations of Christian faith, and to a school that shows commitment to excellence in education. As many of you know, I work in a profession where extreme stress is often the norm rather than the exception. So with that said, knowing that my children were being educated and cared for by such wonderful teachers and staff at the FCA school has been a most incredible experience for us. For this, I thank you. I want to quickly share a couple of thoughts. When Miss Amos asked me to do this, she said you have to talk a little bit and then get into the prayer. So I'll keep this short for you. I know that you're standing. It's a good thing you're standing, because if I blow it, I still feel like I got a standing ovation. So I wanted to share just a quick thought with you, if I may. The day Miss Amos contacted me and asked me to give this benediction, I was waiting in my truck at the end of the day, like I often do, waiting for the kids to finish school and come out so that we can drive them home and that sort of thing. And I see many of the parents, I see a lot of you today that do the same thing as I do every day, picking our kids up. And I was thinking about how much time over the past years that I had spent sitting in that parking lot and waiting for Amber and Chelsea to finish their class, finish socializing for 15, 20, 25 minutes while I wait in the truck for them to finally come out and meet me. I'll be honest, sometimes I would be a little frustrated with the wait. But then I thought about all the times I've watched the multitudes of students running out from the school, coming out to meet their parents, coming out to meet their grandparents, and seeing them come out with joy, seeing them coming out with projects in their hands, coming out with pictures that they have made or whatnot. And I've watched my own child, as well as many of your own children, coming out to meet their parents, and it's truly been a blessing in life to see that. So as I was thinking about that, and I remember seeing some of the younger kids would come out and they'd run to their parents and give a big hug and a kiss and be so proud of the accomplishments that they've made in their day at school. So I'm very proud of this class for the accomplishments that you've made to make it to this graduation. Congratulations. The times like that we sit in our vehicles and everything, oftentimes are the times that matter most to us, to sit and reflect about life and about our role as parents and grandparents and family members for our children. The time that I spent with my children driving back and forth to school has been special times for us. My time to connect with them, my time to hear about their friends and their family and everything that goes on in the school, and the stories that I would hear of Santiago antics. I'm truly going to miss that part of the journey. I encourage you as your parents to take your time, take full advantage of these times, and they go by far too quickly in the blink of an eye. When I told Chelsea the news that I was going to give the benediction here tonight, my first thought was what she would say when I told her. And of course I thought she's going to go, "Dad, don't you embarrass me in front of all my friends," which I thought that was a lock. But instead she says, "Are you going to send a shout out to me?" Well, Chelsea, consider yourself shouted out. We're very proud of you and your class of 2019. Now to get down to the closing of this great night with the parents and staff of the graduates of prom. Let us pray. Lord, as we depart your house of worship tonight, I ask that you please place love, patience, understanding, and compassion in the hearts of us all. I ask that you continue to provide these students with the best opportunities in life as you have planned for them. I hope that you will continue to be inspirations in our community of the education and guidance that you have been given by your teachers and staff of the Fredericton Christian Academy. Lord, please continue to keep your presence of love and abundance in the halls of the classroom of FCA as they continue to worship you in their good works. We ask that you continue to challenge these young people and to challenge them to be strong in their faith, as we know you walk with them in all of life's challenges. Lord, we ask that you continue to provide the teachers and staff of FCA with guidance and wisdom as they provide this for our children. I ask that you stay strong in the lives of parents and family of the Fredericton Christian Academy. I hope they each find peace and happiness in quiet times as I have, and that they never get so busy as to lose sight of the greatness of your creations. Please place your hand of protection on each and every one as they leave here. These things we ask in your name, and we will give you all of the glory. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Cliff. At this time, I'm going to ask the graduates to signify official graduation in unison. We're going to move our tassels from our right and to our left. And ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the graduating class of 2019.